So I saw this video doing the rounds from Clone Robotics about their Protoclone.
Oh yeah, the humanoid with the artificial bones and what was it, 1,000 muscles, powered by water.
Exactly. That's the one. It really jumped out at me. Makes you wonder where we actually are with artificial muscle tech.
Definitely. It sounds almost like something out of a movie. So I think today we should maybe unpack that a bit, look beyond the hype.
Right. See what a claim like that really means when you look at, well, the actual research landscape.
Precisely. We want to help everyone listening get a handle on the significance here. We've been looking at academic papers, patent data, market reports on humanoid robots.
Yeah, trying to piece together the whole picture. So our mission today is basically understand what's genuinely innovative about something like Protoclone by looking at where artificial muscles came from, where they are now, and where they might be going.
Okay, let's dive in. Where do we start? The history, maybe?
Good idea. The basic concepts aren't brand new, are they?
Not at all. Looking through the databases, the earliest sort of landmark we found was a paper back in 1961 in the Lancet, of all places.
What was it about?
It described the McKibben artificial muscle, a pneumatic one, and then there's a U.S. patent from 1975 for fabric tendon artificial skeletal muscles. So yeah, the ideas have been around for decades.
But it wasn't exactly warp speed development back then.
No, definitely not. Our review shows things were pretty slow to start. The real acceleration seems to have kicked in mostly in the 21st century.
And especially recently, right?
Exactly. There was this huge surge after 2016. We saw the number of papers and patents more than double in just the 6 years after that.
Wow. Okay, that's a significant ramp up. So who's leading this charge now?
Well, geographically speaking, China, the U.S., and Japan are the big three for academic papers. They account for nearly, 3/5 of the total output?
Okay.
And they're very active in patents, too.
So the established tech giants are still in the game.
For sure. The U.S. and Japan have been in this field for a long time. South Korea also got involved significantly a bit earlier on. But China's now actually #1 in both papers and patents.
That's quite a shift.
It is. And we're also seeing countries like India and Iran starting to, make more contributions, appearing more in the data.
What about specific institutions? Any standouts?
On the academic side, the University of Wollongong in Australia, Zhejiang University in China, and Tsinghua University in South Korea seem to publish a lot.
Right.
And it's very collaborative, lots of cross-institutional work. For patents, it's a mix. You have companies like Tokai Rubber Industries, but also universities stepping up. Jiaxing University in China, for instance, has become a really major patent applicant recently.
Interesting to see universities getting so involved in patenting.
Yeah, it seems like the drive to commercialize these research findings is definitely growing.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to the how. What actually are these artificial muscles? It's got to be more complex than just making synthetic tissue, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's super interdisciplinary. You're pulling from materials, science, robotics, even instrumentation.
So how do they work?
Well, one way to think about them is by what makes them move the stimulus. Could be electricity, light, chemicals. Different triggers.
Okay.
And then you have different types based on the materials and mechanics. PEM's pneumatic artificial muscles are pretty common. Think of like an inflatable tube inside a mesh sleeve. Inflate it, it shortens, like a muscle contracting.
Right, the McKibben type you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Then you've got things like DEAs, dielectric elastomers. Those are stretchy materials that change shape when you apply voltage. SMAs, shape memory alloys, change shape based on temperature. And IPMCs, ionic polymer metal composites, bend when you apply electricity. Lots of different approaches.
So back to Clone Robotics and their water-powered myofiber. Did that fit into any of these categories? Fluid power seems different.
Well, it's interesting. Fluid power is a known approach. The literature talks about hydraulic artificial muscles, especially in soft robotics. Companies like Soft Robotics, Inc. use fluid-driven systems.
Oh, right.
Using water or some other fluid can give you smooth, strong movements. That could be really useful for robots meant to work alongside people, safely.
Makes sense. Are some of these muscle types smarter than others?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. PAMs are generally considered non-smart. They just contract when inflated. But things like DEAs and IPMCs can potentially sense their environment and respond directly. They're based on smart materials.
And that's where materials like carbon nanotubes come in.
Exactly. There's a ton of research into using advanced materials like CNTs and graphene to make these smart artificial muscles even more capable, faster, stronger, more sensitive.
Okay, so with all that context,
Yeah.
How should we view this Protoclone announcement?
Well, the whole biomimetic idea trying to copy human biology that fits a big trend in humanoid robotics. Mentioning 206 artificial bones, that's obviously mirroring the human skeleton directly. Lots of advanced robots aim for that kind of realism for movement.
And the performance claims. 50 milliseconds to contract, 1 kilogram of force from their myofiber. How realistic is that?
Those are definitely ambitious numbers. Speed and force output are major hurdles the whole field is working on. So if Clone Robotics can actually deliver that reliably,
It would be a pretty big deal.
it could be, yeah. It points towards a potentially significant step forward, tackling known challenges head on.
And they're talking pre-orders next year, 2025.
Yeah.
Does that timeline track with the industry?
Actually, yes. The market reports we looked at suggest the time frame is plausible for more advanced prototypes, maybe even some early niche commercial units to start appearing, so it aligns with general expectations.
Okay, let's zoom out. What's the bigger picture here? Is this just cool tech, or is there a massive market waiting?
The projections suggest a pretty massive market. That analysis we saw mentioned, $38 billion for humanoid robots by 2035.
$38 billion. Wow.
Yeah. And the key developments seem concentrated in the US and China, right where Clone Robotics operates.
And where would these advanced humanoids actually be used?
The potential applications are broad. Think home care for the elderly, assistance in hospitals, complex manufacturing tasks, maybe even working in hazardous environments where you wouldn't want to send a person.
But we're not quite there yet, are we? What are the roadblocks?
Oh, definitely still roadblocks. Making these systems truly versatile, affordable, fully autonomous, and able to interact naturally and safely with people, that's still a huge challenge.
So Clone Robotics might have cool muscles,
Yeah.
but there's more to the puzzle.
Exactly. And even for the muscles themselves, cost is a big one. Then there's reliability, durability, how long do they last, and energy efficiency, how much power do they need? These are critical issues across the board.
But the long-term potential is still exciting.
For sure. People envision intelligent robots for extreme environments, tiny micro-robots using artificial muscles for medical procedures inside the body. The possibilities are pretty vast.
So wrapping this up, it sounds like artificial muscle research has really hit its stride recently. Lots of momentum, especially towards softer, more adaptable robots.
Yeah, that's a fair summary. And companies like Clone Robotics are definitely pushing the envelope, making bold claims that, fit the direction things are heading.
But it's worth keeping perspective.
Absolutely. Protoclone looks exciting. It builds on decades of work, but achieving truly human-like robots, well, that's still a work in progress. Lots of hurdles remain.
A really fascinating field to watch, though. This has been a great deep dive.
Agreed. Lots to think about.
And on that note, a final thought for our listeners. As these robots get more sophisticated, with muscles maybe like these myofibers, when do you think they'll cross the line from lab prototypes to being truly integrated into our lives? And what happens then?
Good question to ponder.
This has been Le Podcast de Philippe. If you enjoyed this discussion and want to hear more like it, please do help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for listening.